Steam stay triggered over feminine fanny, suppress the red rum torrents Danny. We know what you talking about, Mr. Drummond, but you can't blame me cause you'll never be a woman. Female in a swimsuit obscene to a fruit autogonophile like Ed Gein. If it's clear and yellow you got juice there fella, and if it's tangy and brown you're in cider town. Oakley dokley, hiddly ho, neighborino tried to tell you niggas years ago. RPG NPC design, DEIU and I decline. Daft Punk rewind, said one more time. Defy guidelines and now you must resign. So you wanna be starred in something? Boobs are fine but not muffins. Teabag till they spell hypocrisy, cause my meat gets hard for democracy. Hello, beta testers. To help this channel grow and help me bring consistent content, liking this video, commenting, and subscribing in case YouTube tries separating us makes a world of difference. There's a Discord link below. Jump in to get better notifications. On November 2nd, 2025, a game called Aftermath, Red Pine Lakes developers posted about Steam rejecting their thumbnail for the game because it depicted a rear view of a woman in a one-piece swimsuit. They called it inherently sexual, God forbid, with a survival horror title. The post quoted a meme mocking Steam's approval of explicit titles that included Sex with Hitler, Femboy Futa, and as you saw in my intro, there's a game that was approved with... But these inconsistencies are nothing new with what we're seeing in the gaming industry. And to quickly address the sentiment that this could be faked and a marketing tactic by the developer, particularly because of how bizarre and incorrect the interaction with Steam douche is for a non-adult game, this is insinuating the woman is the focus of this shot, where the lake is clearly the topic to be focused on. So to me it doesn't matter if in this instance they are on the bullshit, because the attempt at readjusting what is inherently sexual with something so tame as a swimsuit that would not track on any kind of kid-friendly site across the internet now for how modest it is further infuriates, with the implication that this modest swimsuit is too spicy for normie Steam. Concisely, the slope is slippery enough and y'all think you're slick. To me, this isn't just about the current wave of grifters endeavoring to push for moderation, censorship, and sanitization of fictional media. It's about the losers that they can weaponize as useful idiots, hilariously unaware but infinitely available, and proud to serve as an activist if it means Reddit or even Discord moderator status, because no amount of power is too small, no amount of attention in the way of purpose is too minute to not bait them perfectly into service. And that small amount of power they will abuse, because they would have done it, in fact, for free, for head pats, because validation is all they seek. These willing slaves are very available. Before I lose my mind, I do have to appreciate that this being the new too sexy for Steam is incredible. Allow me to read the response.
If you look long enough, I'm sure you'll find plenty of other partners who are breaking our rules and guidelines. Focusing the topic on an image of a woman's behind is indeed sexual in nature, regardless of what she's wearing. Your graphical assets can be viewed by everyone on the platform and should be appropriate for the store. Cheers!
Steam team. Wow. Comment below, beta tester. What kind of person do you think writes this kind of thing? Outraged at a woman's behind, as they put it. Do you think we could take enough pills to achieve that level of gay? Before I waste more breath on the inconsistency of the enforcement of these ever-changing rules, only ever putting pressure on a feminine depiction of digital polygon recreations of women for the sake of some fictional media, I'm forced to remind everyone that it's not really about what's shown, it's about who the people making it agree with. Because as we've seen, it's apparently not grooming or anything for these shills, developers, and journos to advocate for the underage to make life-changing medical decisions if it means larger turnouts in the way of young people at a drag show, as we see normalized on irrelevant Kimmel. Because just like South Park, it's message at the cost of everything. Even if the cost is humor in a comedy, even if the cost is escape in escape entertainment, a video game. It's absolutely hilarious that a female statue is problematic to the people cheering because they hate any attractive depiction of an adult woman potentially appealing via the male gaze to an adult man. Hetero is the problem, and I hope you don't believe me so that the imminent meltdowns continue to prove me right, and then you can pretend not to care. That's how this typically goes. As I said on Twitter, the real issue is that this deliberately appearing a biological woman is a woman at a glance instead of a body type 2 that the modern audience game makers are so fond of these days. Moving the fuck on, man. This is Fortnite's Spice skin. Forgive my nature, but quickly emphasizing how unremarkable this skin is what I do, because people can run their mouth, but like a certain constantly trending Sweeney and her milkers, a picture is worth 1,000 words. We had over a decade of triggered feminist seething, harmless on its own, but they fell to their knees to swallow journos who coordinated to push the kind of ignorance that malicious foreign powers would high-five each other, eager to see how it destroys a nation from within. Among other things, this fruity activist screeching actually got people to listen for a time, which has resulted in a crash, whether we call it that or not. Ironically, in the same way digital women specifically are excluded from being pretty, many are excluded from this crash, which for the most part has been earned by primarily the West and those foolish enough to follow trends they ironically claimed inclusive. So what do I care about a skin-tight skeleton suit pumpkin head cat girl, and how does she tie into this? Well, there's a hierarchy in Fortnite, and this character is no Chun-Li, they're no Poison Ivy. She's hardly even worth mentioning next to the goddess Fortnite had in Penny, as well as other what they called constructor classes, all big-tittied and cleavage out, of course, pre-nerf, because of course, where Penny's face shape and lips and even eye color needed to be changed because blue eyes, come on, that's problematic, she's too attractive. I remind you, Fortnite is a teen game, just like Marvel Rivals, but in so DEI a time where men need to be regarded as the new women, cleavage is an unfair advantage granted to that one biological female class that we'd like to diminish and downgrade and marginalize. So it was removed. This safe horny is what had a portion of Twitter very excited. But why? In-gamer proportions are restrained, barely curvy enough for you to notice, but better than Opal, who at this point feels like a cruel inside joke. But that's how much they hate femininity. In fact, if it weren't for a heavily circulated pose of pumpkin spice mid-emote, the cheeks might be impossible to define. How amusing. They understand even when they don't want to. The crease, the seam in that ass is what elevates the appeal of the girl skins. Just like the beta testers with nice, firm rumps, we want to see that with something clinging to it. It is a third-person game after all. We may have strayed far from Lara Croft with it in the hands of developers trying to make her a man and getting games canceled with unappealing, massive-jawed abominations. But you gotta remember, before culture got so sad that Hollywood was stooping down into the bin of nerd comic book shit and video games, back over 20 years ago, Angelina Jolie made that Lara Croft movie work, and it was good enough to earn another theatrical sequel. So the internet did what it did. Fan art exploded of this pumpkin spice character, effortlessly claiming eyes and kindling a mighty powerful desire in some people. Hundreds of pieces of art amplifying her into a sexy icon, dominating X with back shots, 3D models, and the kind of dimples, skin dentation, and accentuated curves that make a full meaty beauty of a woman something easy to appreciate. Like an alien abduction, you might find yourself with lost time. But I'm sure there's a perfectly logical explanation for this, Mulder. Same week Sydney Sweeney's Variety Power of Women red carpet appearance toes a line between elegance and nudity outright with a free expression that made me think of the Statue of Liberty looking at her. A tear wells. If this isn't America, I don't know what is. Sabrina Carpenter could never. All these astroturfed, hunters, wannabe gatherers can't achieve a teaspoon of the ocean that is a biological woman as her captivating, destined place as showstopper manifests. People of Earth don't need to lend energy, for Sweeney shines bright, not like a diamond, sheer silver. Sydney Sweeney, instant virality. I really need a drink of water. Whoa. Dehydrating me to talk about her. So instantly the activists, unwanted and hate-filled, seethe. They could ignore this, but instead they take the opportunity to call anybody appreciating it a piggish man. Accusations of tackiness and vulgarity fall from their fingers and exit their lips, but they don't realize that they too have a part to play. This doesn't culturally dominate and symbolize the shift without they, them, and the seething that they cannot restrain. Shouldn't you be in your echo chamber? Boy, what are you doing out here, boy? Another Hogwarts boycott that makes a 20-year-old property an overnight global success, because without these people too angry to shut up, we might not have covered as much ground in the way of visibility. And of course, some people are just gonna, because they're evil, they're just gonna buy it to spite you, right? The data could not be more clear. As if it needed a reminder, sex sells. Still. And maybe moving forward, what drives revenue may be an important direction to factor in to avoid a crash when frigid, barren cat lady activists who hate themselves speak. They expect people to fall in line, but they can be forgiven because we know humanity and logic are a foreign idea to them, and they've got a lot of work to do pretending that they can manage them. They think they can invent new meanings for words and that they have the charisma or talent or titties to get people falling in line with their fruity little bullshit. You need a majority for that, and you are not that, and your mind shatters as you try to redefine what democracy even is, bitch. Wrong. They call suppressing reality progress. They view the male gaze as toxic because the only thing they hate more than themselves is heterosexuality. And you must hate the very reason for your existence, because that was a deciding factor in you being born. Hate yourself, hate the conditions that brought you into hey man, keep us out of the manifesto, please. Don't go to that grocery store. Those people are just trying to enjoy themselves at that concert. Wow, bro. Stabby, huh? Ooh, I disagree. Jesus. As some entities may say, you can't fight progress. And I follow some of the most boneheaded vegan lady who asked for your opinion at worshiping outlets like Slate to see what they can inorganically push. Look at this. He was famously an anti-woke podcaster. Now he's starring in A-list movies. And I brought this up on stream to say A-list. You know, I haven't seen a good movie in a long time. And because everyone these people force looks like a dude, looks like this kind of dude, the only A-listers that get wheeled out these days would be the same people that were movie stars maybe 20 years ago. Like your Harrison Ford, and he needs a wheelchair for a different reason than the kind of big motherfuckers y'all putting in people's face talking about, look at this. If I were as insane as the activist ladies confused about what a woman is, I might assert that this man is the new image of masculinity and what every woman will want to see in media in between reading smut where they're being ravaged without their consent by monsters. If I were insane, I'd believe that this guy is getting 25% of the attention from women that one of Sydney Sweeney's boobs gets from men. But you know what my big fucking problem is? Is that my brain still functions. It's that my eyes still function. And I'm not so gay that I was going to be really just corralled into whatever bitch-made opinion you've sectioned off for the people that, you know, you're pushed in a direction of because of your big-nosed friends. I'm not in a fight with a mirror or reality or science, and I don't need filters and backpats from liars and handlers repeating the same thing over and over in the hopes that it makes it true. Some of the most finger in your ear la 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 bullshit in the world, and we should be somehow available to listen to or repeat after you? What's happening is not a result of coincidence in the gaming space. It's market data emphasizing that these entities hate what works. They hate the truth. Force ugliness, bleed cash. And on such a menstrual topic that some actually get jealous over because it's another thing that the exceptional women do that men cannot, hemorrhaging cash has caught up to some of these corporations, these companies, these studios, these people. Remember the people. Maybe you've heard about the recent layoffs, but there's so many. It's like, which am I even fucking talking about anymore? I could be talking about the 14K layoffs at Amazon that, you know, it's casting ripples that we won't even be able to calculate the measure of. Half of that shit wasn't announced, and good. You guys weren't getting anywhere. A Lord of the Rings MMO was canceled, among other projects that, as usual, didn't reach a stage to even get mentioned, as games like Crimson Desert in the East put out boss battle after boss battle to the point where, bro, you've shown off more than will be in entire other AAA games. Not because they can't, but because they won't. Ugly, stingy, gay, greedy. You know, Amazon Games is a joke that was funny as a setup. Same setup, same payoff. I think Norm Macdonald calls that the perfect joke. Both setup and punchline, but a decade has been wasted, not spent, ticking boxes instead of courting talent. Concord's issue wasn't a lack of money, it's summed up with a look at it. Rings of Power? If it was a game, I'm sure that's what this MMO would have fucking been, because it's made during the wrong time. I'm black and nerd incarnate, but I have no desire to watch Rings of Power and never will. I have no desire to catch back up with Doctor Who, start watching Star Wars slop. You took this thing, you made it a vehicle for your stupid message, and now it's unwatchable. I instead choose to do what DEI entities cannot: pass. You have no idea how frustrating media has become for Trekkies. To have had to watch you infiltrate and you put a skirt on a Klingon, we coming for you now. Figuratively, hypothetically, TV movies, comics, cartoons, video games, streaming, and internet, and anime. Recently, news of a ludicrous patent being blocked by Nintendo came, and before I could even celebrate, I just thought they're just gonna throw more money at the fucking problem, and the world's gonna, you know, continue on its steady fucking pace in the direction of hell. Amazon lays off 14K, but Obsidian couldn't get that many people to play their fucking game, and they still get to stay open. How are they fucking doing it? Where's that money coming from? I'm struggling to play through Outer Worlds 2 because I'm unironically falling asleep that you saw on stream. An offensively DEI game. The only thing I can keep asking is how dare they take MCs, protagonists in an RPG, and make them look like NPCs. This is the box that DEI has put you offenseless losers in. Jesus Christ. The exact types of people triggered enough to move the camera away from a Mass Effect remaster are the types crafting mandatory ugly air quotes adventures like this. And the gay people I know, the theater kids I know, the vocalists I know would class this as way too gay and lame for them, which is saying something. How many more Dragon Ages will we get flushed out before the end of this era of hilarious woke slop? One thing you learn is entities love making up and hurling names at people they paradoxically need to silence. They make lists of things you may not say and have dead names you may not utter, but the meltdowns and layoffs, now that they've exhausted their token use, have elevated reality higher on the list of things they're mad about. There's a term, I don't like that they try to hurl at hetero, not realizing that to the AI, this term is indistinguishable from appealing, from profitable. The same types who might talk about horny stick bonking are the ones glazing the absurdly enhanced feminine skin before it came out. And I love it because, in tandem with Sweeney's reaction, you fed the algorithm all it needs to know about what organically gets attention, unlike the middle-aged, lonely, terminally online body shamers who coin their own terms, angry that stupid Sydney Sweeney is captivating the world in a see-through, nipples-visible, backside-outlined victory. For she and whomever made that dress a sculpted delight, not unlike the statues of old by men endlessly appreciative of the work of art that is a female form. The woke losers that cannot create are smearing their activist poop graffiti all over what the heterosexual men made before them. What worked so well, they're forced to bring it back. But to these losers, even a feminine statue is offensive, so it must be changed, even though this isn't even theirs, but they know they wouldn't get any attention on their own. To these losers, the men who crafted them were the evil, perverse gooners. If the oxygen thieves running their mouth in the gaming industry couldn't read the writing on the wall before, they certainly can now, and they better watch, demonstrating how inferior they are to AI moving forward. On Twitter, I said Sydney Sweeney in a sequel to Stellar Blade or Hogwarts Legacy would break the internet, but I should have said would break the internet again, because that's what her in that dress did, even though they don't want to report on it like that. If Pumpkin Spice, this cat girl, was as thick as she was depicted in the artwork, boy, there might have been a real indication market-wise what's going on. So this anti-goon gender squad can hate whatever they want, but even they can't stop the unrealistic, problematic, I'm a man and I wear a skirt, blah blah blah, no shame to you, brother, but what the fuck are we talking about? Women do not represent stolen attention to us, and we're not all so lame that if we needed attention we couldn't earn it. So you've confused how you feel as relevant to us. You've confused what your group thinks as mattering to the world. You are confused, full stop, and the terror that will extend this Halloween forward for who knows how long is the realization that the same way Kyle has dismissed you is how everyone will soon see you. And that's what you wanted, right? To be seen for what you are. Whatever the sensitivity squad has a big stinky diaper problem with these days really isn't much of my business. I'm just here to say what I need to say so that when the time comes I can point back at it and say I told you, because from what I'm witnessing I should be thankful that I'll never, ever, no matter how hard I try, screaming until I'm blue in the face and courting a heart attack, I'll never be so stupid, ugly, talentless, confused, that I'll ever with a straight face think things unironically like, why is there so much fan service in this shonen? To the patrons and sponsors, thank you. I'll be updating this list in the coming days, so again, I appreciate your patience. Join the Discord for better notifications. YouTube changing means I'll be even more suppressed, and I'm not the type to avoid age restrictions that'll come at me, so your likes, your hype, your comments, your titties, they make all the difference. What I'm gonna be looking for is somehow streamlining my process, so if that means weirdly less editing in the way of the videos I put out, then by all means. You know, I remember YouTube's birth and how it surged in popularity thanks to Janet Jackson and a Timberlake Super Bowl show. If it's becoming so tame and normie that we can't even speak here, I guess stay tuned to the Discord to see where this show's gonna go next. I do love you, and I'll see you next time. Let's get some Asians up in here, you know what I mean? Jiggling them titties all over the place. Ni hao, konnichiwa, annyeonghaseyo. Ni hao, konnichiwa. Take that dick to go, but not on a woman. You know, women don't have those. What am I'm saying something revolutionary? Jesus. What did you guys do to this place?